Okay, so what I ask that you do, so we're in class 2 of the intermediate session. What I ask that you do is that you should please read, or well, listen to, because they're not in chapters. The entire book itself was a radio production, and then they transcribed it. And that's how it became a book. But I have um, a copy of the book that I think I got it on Amazon. Um, so I have it, and you can get it, and you can also get it online, like I said earlier. But we shall look at what you thought. Which sentence are you going to share with us? I have a few myself. Well, just two because we have limited time, and then we'll discuss it using the Bible also as one of the books we'll use to discuss. Not as the only book, but as one of the books, as a major one, actually, the major of all of them.
Yeah. I think so. Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
Yes. I think the very first thing will be the question that was asked: what is wrong with men today? And then the statement that says, men simply don't think. In a world that is full of so much opportunities, it looks like everyone should be succeeding, but there are people who are succeeding and people who are not succeeding. Yes. And then there's also the other one that says, people with a goal succeed because they know where they are going. And I think I just got to ask myself that question, that how many of us really ever sit down to set goals for our lives? I know I haven't been doing that since I was young. I was just living, I was confirming. That's the way that the reader uses. It was just an issue of conforming to what you find there. You just know that you have to go to school, get education, find a job, and after you start working, you pay bills. That was just the cycle. We never really got to think about where is it that I really want to go. And then now that will definitely explain why most of the time we fail at so many things, because we just know that we want to succeed, but we don't know what we want to succeed in, because there's another statement that says, if you decide on where you are going or who you want to become, you start working towards that goal. So if you don't know the goal that you want to reach, it means you will not start working towards that. So you are just living aimlessly, but you think you want to reach somewhere. So I think this is the experience. If you want a successful home, you should first define. You should have a goal. What do you mean when you say a successful home? What are the things that you want to achieve? And then you start realigning your objectives and everything towards reaching where you want to be. But if you don't know where you want to be, it becomes a problem on how you will reach there if you don't even know where you want to go in the first place. So yes, I think this is what I'll share for now. Thank you.
You're so right. You're so right. Those are the first two things you mentioned about people, that question. People, thank you so much, Lebo. People not knowing how to think or what to think, or they just don't think. And the second one about success. Those are the first two. Those are the two that I've brought up today for us to go really in depth in. But did you pick up any scriptures that align with either of any of these things that you noted that you've just mentioned? Were there any scriptures that you connected?
No, I unfortunately I didn't go to the scriptures. Yes, I
Okay.
didn't. I was just listening. I didn't go to the scriptures. Thank you for reminding me. So that yeah,
No problem.
I know that I normally just listen, and I think because what you normally share would come up with scriptures already. But then yeah, thank you for reminding me of that.
No problem.
Yes.
So because this is the intermediate level, and the intermediate level, you're going to be working a lot, creating your own ideas, thinking through what you are reading, not just listening and applying. And then you now take that to your clients and you give them something to think about, to bring up, to talk about, like you've just talked about it, because it helps you to think deeper, doesn't it? Reading these things and considering them, like, how does this work out? Is this how I have been? Is this how we are? So what were your thoughts as you read through that?
My thoughts in terms of what I need to do.
Yes, no, your thoughts generally as you listened to the book or read the book, this first part, what occurred to you? What were your general thoughts as you were listening or reading through?
I think my general thought will just be that the reason why we it's me, and I think I will say we because from even the statistics that was shared, what he shared in the statistics, I would say it's what I see happening on the ground. It's just that the main problem that we are facing in terms of not living a fulfilled life, it's it starts with us not thinking right. So if we were to start thinking right, then we will live a fulfilled life. It's not like, it's not like God threw us to the deep end. So we kind of all have to reflect on what was God's purpose when he created. Like you always say, God made everything and finished it. So it's just up to us to find out or to learn what is it that God, like, not necessarily what it is. I wanted to say we just need to find what is available for us, and we can only do that through learning. You remember the scripture that says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So I think we can never think on anything that we don't know about. So for as long as we are not investing on learning, we will remain where we are. So for as long as we start learning, then we start learning, and then we apply what we are learning, then our lives will automatically go the direction that God intended for us. Yes.
That's really insightful. I was taking notes as you
Oh,
were speaking. You said if we were to start thinking right, I don't think I wrote the last thing properly. It's exactly what you said, but you said if we were to start thinking right, we would have good success or we will be successful. I can't remember the last, but thank God it's recorded. Then you said God made everything and finished it. That is such a powerful way of saying it. I've never said it that way. You said God made everything and finished it. Fantastic. And the other thing you said was, we can never think on what we don't know. That's always, I do say that, but I love the way you said it. We can never think on what we don't know. And you brought up, so I'll share at this point the PowerPoint I prepared for today, because we don't really know, uh as Christians, we just repeat things, we don't understand why or how come. We are just repeating stuff. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see the screen.
Fantastic. So just a reminder that you can purchase the books As a Man Thinketh, or listen to it online, or rather download it. The Strangest Secret as well. You can download the PDF copies. I hope you've been able to do that, because it's always helpful to have it somewhere. If you can print it, there are
Yes,
just a
I
few.
have them.
Okay.
Yes, I have the
Just
PDF and I always listen
fantastic.
online. Yes.
Yes. And then the other two books, The Game of Life and How to Play It, the whole book is online on YouTube by Florence Scovel Shinn. And the fourth book is the Bible. So we are going to dip in and out of all the books, but we will always have the Bible as part of them, every class. Also, just to remind you that the classes we hold fortnightly, and you'll be required to read chapters of the specified book, either for the month or for the class. We shall discuss these chapters aligned with the Bible, and then you send a write-up to 50 to 500 words every fortnight based on what we share, what you read. And I appreciate that you sent the first one. Thank you. So today we are going to look at The Strangest Secret, this class, all right? And I took this sentence just like you said, and I am asking this question: men know how to think, yes or no? What do you think? Do men know how to think? Not do not do men think, because he said men just don't think, isn't it? Men simply do not think! Exclamation mark. But do you think men know how to think?
No, they don't.
Why do you say so?
um, like I was saying, I've realized that for there's no way where you are taught how to think. So if it's not, I don't think it's an art, like you always say. It's an art that needs to be learned. So you can never know how to think if you have never been taught how to think. That's how I would say it. I don't know if it
Yeah.
makes
I like what you said. Thank you. Because anytime I do it, anytime I teach it or we talk about it, anyway I talk about it, I'm asking myself, is this really something you can teach? But I remember being sent to teach God's people how to think. I remember where I stood outside in front of the house, right in front of the house by the front door. I remember what led to that, the questions and all that. So I'm thinking, is there a how of thinking? Yes, I believe there is. And it helps to have these conversations, at least for me. So this Dr. Albert Schweitzer was once asked, Doctor, what is wrong with men today? The great doctor was silent a moment, and then he said, why was he silent? I think he was thinking. He didn't just jump and answer. He took his time. So let me think about this. The great doctor was silent a moment, and then he said, men simply do not think. Now I'm nicer. I said how to think, meaning they do think, but do they know how? He's saying they don't think at all. Men simply do not think. And he explained himself, I think. Well, it was Earl Nightingale that explained what he meant when he carried on by saying we live in a golden age, like you said, and that we have so much at our beck and call, but we just are not using it. So he talked about these 100 individuals who start even at the age of 25. They all start at this, they all have the same amount of money, the same opportunity. Do you know what happened to them, to those men and women, by the time they are 65? these 100 people who all start even at the age of 25, all believe they're going to be successful. If you ask any one of them if they want to be a success, they would tell you they did. You would notice that they are eager toward life. There is a certain sparkle in their eye, an erectness to their carriage. That's the way they walk. Life seems like a pretty interesting adventure to them. But by the time they are 65, only one will be rich, 4 will be financially independent, 41 will still be working, and 54 will be broke, depending on others for life's necessities. Now think a moment. Out of the 100, only 5 make the grade. Question 1, why do so many fail? Question 2, what has happened to the sparkle that was there when they were 25? Question 3, what has become of their dreams, their hopes, their plans? Question 4, why is there such a large disparity between what these people intended to do and what they actually accomplished? Those are powerful questions I think anybody should ask themselves at different points in life or after a project. Why did I fail at this project? What happened to the sparkle that was in my heart? Like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to achieve that when I started the project. What has become of my dreams, my hopes, and my plans concerning this project? What happened? It was clearly stated. I was excited about it. What has happened to those dreams, hopes, and plans? Why is there such a large disparity between those of us between what I intended to do and what I actually accomplished? Well, what happened? There's something that's missing somewhere. And if we ask ourselves those questions at the beginning or at the beginning, sorry, at the end of a project, not just at different phases in life, we'll know, and we're honest with ourselves with the answers, then we'll know what happened and we'll know what we need to change and what needs to tweak. So this was exactly that verse you quoted is the one I also quoted. I'm not too sure why I'm not seeing the rest of the verse. I wonder why. Let me change that. Please bear with me a second. That means it's out of the screen. So let me change that so you can see it. Wow, gosh, that's a lot. I didn't notice that. Let me reduce the font so that it can be seen. All of it can be seen. Let me see. Am I still in? Let me see. Yes, we're just about in. Okay. So I'll go back to sharing it. Please bear with me. There we go. All right. Can you see this? Okay. Can you see the entire verse now? Label, can you see it?
I'm seeing verse 1 and verse 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Because
yes.
part of verse 6 was missing. All right. So to answer the question, do people know how to think? Men just do not think. For the Lord has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. And that's Hosea chapter 4, verse 1. Notice knowledge of God in the land. Knowledge of God. Verse 6, which is what we are taught in church. We are not taught to look at things in context. Well, they do it now, but we just used to rush around. And I also never used to look at things in context. I just take a verse. This is what it means. But it is written in a particular context, in a particular time of the month, time of the day, culture. There are so many contexts. So you must look at the context so you have the proper meaning. Otherwise, it can mean anything because you just put it into any place, but it's written within a group of people, their traditions, their different contexts. So we need to look at it in context. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. This is why. Because it says they don't have knowledge of God in the land. But if you read all those verses 1 to 2, 5 to 6, 9 to 10, And we shall read them actually. The people did not have the knowledge of God. That was important. Romans chapter 1 talks about God giving them the knowledge, but they just refused it. They just said, no, we are not going to listen to what you're saying. Where is that verse? In Romans chapter 1. For the wrath of God is from verse 18. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven. Romans 1:18, against all ungodliness. So ungodliness means lack of knowledge of God. That you are not like God, and you can't be like somebody you don't know. So he says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge of God. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. There are so many terrible consequences to not knowing God. And why should you know God? Now, I'm not talking about knowing God in terms of, oh God, I praise you, I'm born again. No, no, no. We go deeper than that. There are people who have never walked into a church and they say, God, I want to know you. Nobody is there to say this after me. I give my life to Christ. I forsake my sins, blah, 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 blah. So we don't need to go into the religion of it. So let's carry on Romans 1:18. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has showed it unto them. So it's not that some people know him and some people don't. It doesn't say it is manifest to certain people. It says men. God has shown the unrighteousness of men, because that which may be known of God is manifest in them. It's manifest, is inside them. Let's look at another, because what is known about God is plain to them, since God has made it plain to them. That's verse 19 of Romans 1. For that which is known about God is evident to them and made plain in their inner consciousness, because God himself has shown it to them. So they cannot, the message says, but the basic reality of God is plain enough. Open your eyes and there it is. By taking a long and thoughtful look at what God has created, people have always been able to see what their eyes as such can't see. So nobody can, even the atheist can't say, I don't know. But the reason people don't think, and you said something about they need to think right. My understanding of thinking right is thinking righteously. The Facebook group I have is teaching God's people, that helping God's people learn how to think right. It's righteous. Righteous means God's way of being and doing right. Righteousness is a way of being and doing. So if they don't even know that, nothing can happen. Nothing right can happen. Because if you don't know me, I will reject you. And that word, because he said, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I also will reject thee. We don't want that. And so the important thing is to know him, because that will inform everything you do. You know why that's important? I don't say get born again. Anytime I tell people who don't know God to read the Bible, I say just read it. You don't have to quote it, just read it. The Bible is a spiritual book. Jesus said, the words I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life. I said that spirit will do its work on your spirit. You don't need to, you don't need to do anything else. So let's go back to Hosea chapter 4. So if you read verse 1 and 2, hear the word of the Lord, you children of Israel. For the Lord has a controversy. Maybe I should change it to the Good News Translation, GNT, for ease of understanding. The Lord has an accusation. Okay, I can see you sent something. Yeah, that is powerful. It is. The Lord has an accusation. And I was going to say that the reason I say just read it, read the Bible, is because God is everywhere. No human being has made a tree. No human being has made what's the word? Another human being. No human being has made a sperm. No human being has made an egg. God is in front of you. No human being has made the universe. So all the things you find in the universe, in terms of physical um things. I'm not talking about a fan and a bed. Yes, we made that, but the soil, no human being has made that. Seed. The Bible says that God made the trees and the herb bearing seeds, trees, and that God made that the seed is in itself. The fruit of this tree is in the seed. Every time you hold a corn seed, a whole cob of corn is in that corn seed. Nobody can do that. And no one has done that. So around us is God. Is all God. You can't say you can't see that. You've just refused to accept, which is up to you. But you can't say he's not there. He is right here, staring at all of us, and we are staring at him. So verse 1 of Hosea 4, in the Good News Translation, the Lord has an accusation to bring against the people who live in this land. Listen, Israel, to what he says. There is no faithfulness or love in the land, and the people do not acknowledge me as God. There can't be faithfulness or love since they don't know God. This is about thinking. If you don't know the ultimate, you will not know how to think. All right, so what I mean by the ultimate is, if you do not know that there is a system, a way that a fan works, you will not know how to work it. I heard someone say, we are not making or creating anything. We are just discovering what God has made available. Exactly. Even the fan and the bed, God made the wisdom to make it available. You can't run from it. You didn't create your own wisdom. AI, IT is in God. All these things have come out of him. This is why it is vital that you know him. Let's read verse 2 of Hosea 4. They make promises and break them. That's why, because you don't know him. They lie, they murder, they steal, and commit adultery. Crimes increase, and there is one murder after another. What does that look like? The state of the world today. People just shooting people, lying. Husband lies to wife, tells a lie to husband. People murder, people just steal, people just commit adultery left and right. Crimes are increasing because they don't know him, and we're hurting each other. We don't like it, but we're hurting each other. Then verse 5 to 6. You should read the others, but verse 5 to 6. Night and day you blunder on, and even the prophets do know better than you. I am going to destroy Israel, your mother. Verse 6. My people are doomed because they do not acknowledge me. You priests have refused to acknowledge me and have rejected my teaching. And so I reject you and will not acknowledge your sons as my priests. And verse 9 to 10. You will suffer the same punishment as the people. I will punish you and make you pay for the evil you do. You will eat your share of the sacrifices, but will be hungry, but still be hungry. You will worship the fertility gods, but still have no children, because you have turned away from me to follow other gods. He was speaking to the priests. The more of you priests there are, the more you sin against me. That's verse 7. And so I will turn your honor into disgrace. You grow rich from the sins of my people, and so you want them to sin more and more. I mean, it's terrible. That was verse 8. And that's exactly what's happening in the world. Hey, I don't want to know God. That's okay. You want to go on your own and use your own human sense. Feel free. But they that know their God shall be strong and do exploits. They are there are benefits to knowing God. So the runway from which you take off when you think is the runway of righteousness, of rightness. I think it was last week, the Lord gave me a sentence. I said, this thing I teach, I know it's how to think, but what else can it be? There must be a name. I can give it. And I was speaking with somebody and I said, out of my mouth came the science of righteousness. I said, what? What was that? Even I stopped while I was talking to her. I said, what's the science of righteousness? This science means the way things work. Righteousness means God's way of being and doing right. And then when I was sharing in the As a Man Thinketh class challenge, I talked about it was counted in Genesis 15:6. It was counted to Abraham as righteousness. The fact he believed what God told him, that you see all these stars, if you can count them, you will have that number of children. I'm telling you, I will give them to you. The number of children, this, and the Bible says Abraham believed God, and God said, okay. He counted it to him as righteousness. So the word I was talking about that day was the word counted in relation to the word device in Proverbs 16:30. And I'm still working on that. That's why I've not done the recordings I said I'll do for that group. But you've got to think about the fact that when you think, if you don't start from the runway of righteousness, you will not get it right. Just like you said, if we were to start thinking right, we would have good success. We would get it right. It's the runway. You cannot put, you cannot, that, like I said, there's a system of the way things work on the earth so that you don't have a chaotic earth, you don't have crimes, murders, people doing horrible things. You've got to start from the right runway, knowing the way God made the universe to work. He made the universe to work on righteousness, not on. So when you think, oh, I'm just, if you have a thought, I'm going to Lebo's house and I'm just going to steal from her, you will know that's not how things work, because that's not, because you know, based on him, everything is good, everything is righteous, everything is correct. So the runway, you start that's how to think. And that's the only way to learn how to think. Because I can teach anything else. I can say, yeah, yeah, yeah. You can show up for the class or not. If you do something wrong, you don't have to apologize. It doesn't really matter. If you have children and you want to have other children outside, that's fine. You can have 15 husbands, you can have 25 wives, you can just go anywhere you like and do what you like. It doesn't really matter. If everybody can do what they like, then the cosmos, which means order, meaning the earth, then they've brought disorder into the cosmos, and they expect the order, the way God created the world to work. It will still work because there are laws there. You can't stop the sun from shining. You can't stop the sun from giving you heat. You cannot stop gravity from working. And it is God that put these laws in the land, in the earth. Doesn't it therefore make sense to think right? It doesn't make sense to think different. It just doesn't make sense because you can't change the vital laws. If you look at Psalm 119, it says, I obey your commandments, I obey your laws, I obey your statutes, I think on your statutes, I meditate on your laws all day. So one day I said, what is this law, 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 law? And I looked it up in the Hebrew, in Strong's Concordance, and it says, law is the word rain. RAIN. I said rain. I said, how does that work? How does rain have anything to do with a law? A law is a law, is a law, is a principle. It doesn't shift. He said, well, and you see, when you read Hebrew and Greek, they are symbols. Their languages are symbolic. Their languages are not um happy are you. That's not what it was. There is a lot more in the language. It paints a whole picture and you have deeper understanding. That language is powerful. So both Hebrew and Greek. And so I said, rain, how does that work? He said, what is a law? I said, well, a law is something you've put in place and it keeps working. He said, exactly. I said, exactly. He said, well, when rain falls, when it rains, does it fall? I said, yes. He said, well, it just falls. Water is just falling and falling. I said, yes. He said, likewise, does a law stop because the sun is shining? Does a law stop, or does the rain stop falling because there is wind? does 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 the rain stop falling because a plane is passing? Does the rain stop falling because you are crying, or because two people are getting married today? I said, no, the rain falls when the rain wants to fall, and it keeps falling and nothing can stop it. He said, exactly. Laws keep working, they keep flowing like rain, like water, and nothing can stop them. Whether the moon came out late, or the sun came out late, or whether somebody jumps from the top and they say, and the person thinks, oh, gravity will not work. No, the law of gravity keeps working. Even though we are both still seated in front of our laptops, listening to each other, the law of gravity is still working. The law of seed time and harvest time is still working. The law of sowing and reaping is still working. The law of cause and effect is still working. The law of ask and you shall receive is still working. The law of believe you have received and you shall have is still working. The law, name it, is flowing. And so if you know that that is how God has made the world, you have the knowledge of him, then you will follow that system. Am I making sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have any questions at this point?
No, I'm just taking my notes.
Okay. So
Yes.
it is this is how to think. If you don't have the knowledge of God, meaning the knowledge that this universe was made by somebody bigger than you and I, stronger than you and I, and that that person lives in me, lives in you, and that through that person you can do all things, through him who strengthens you, and that that person is working in you and I, both to will and to do of his good pleasure, and that that person is wisdom unto us, and like Proverbs chapter 1, verse 1 says, let me read it. It's the reason for the Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 1. Here are proverbs that will help you recognize wisdom and good advice and understand sayings with deep meaning. That's why you should read a chapter of Proverbs every day of your life. Today is March 23, I believe. Then you read chapter 23. Here are Proverbs. This is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 2 in the Good News Translation. Here are Proverbs that will help you recognize wisdom and good advice and understand sayings with deep meaning. So you're not reading the Bible like as a religious book. You want to recognize wisdom. You want to recognize good advice. You want to understand sayings with deep meaning. You don't want to just be doing anyhow. Like you said, we didn't have goals. We didn't have anything. We're just there. We're just going about, life. Oh, yeah, we'll make it. I know I never used to have goals. And when I learned to write goals, I didn't like them. I didn't like, and I stopped having goals because I never succeeded in achieving them. And that was so debilitating for me. I stopped. I did not understand goals. And even now, at this stage in my life, I still have to remind myself to set a goal. Then, when I start doing them, then I will miss the date for the goal. I say, oh, I don't feel like it. Oh, I don't want to do it now. Or say, hey, Kemi, when will you wake up? Wake up. And it's something I've been working on my entire life. Set a goal, stick to it. And anytime I set a goal and stick to it and flow with it, I feel so good. So good. You can't pay for the feeling, the sense of accomplishment. You can't pay for it. It's just beautiful. So like I was thanking God this morning for this class. Yes, same experience. Yeah. I was thanking God. I said, wow, Lord, look at this. I- I'm actually creating this because this was something God said, do. Start doing the coaching certification. I said, oh, okay. Not that I knew what was going to go into it. I didn't know how. But once you start, he will show up. He will show, I didn't know who will join. I just told it to somebody else a few days ago. I and she said, "Oh yes, please. Yes, I want it." She said, "Can you send me everything and then how to join, and how to pay?" She didn't, it was one converse. I didn't even start with that conversation. This is it. Once you are on track, you are following God's divine supernatural system. You don't hustle. You don't have to beg people to buy and beg people. You just mention it. We were talking about something else entirely. And as we were about to end the call, it came to my heart. Tell her about the coaching certification. I thought, oh, okay. And I mentioned it and I explained it. And she said, "Can you send me more details? Can you send me how to enroll in one voice? And can you and you've told me how much it is? Fantastic." I said, "Whoa, that was easy." What if I was talking to 25 people and 15 people say, "Yes, I want to this and I want to that." And that's how money will enter your account. And you did not hustle. There is no need to hustle. Absolutely no need to hustle. If you follow a divine directive, supernatural. I believe you cannot run your business without supernatural activity. If you are still striving, straining, how will I sell? How will I take it? You have it. Take People need it, but you don't know who. Until you put it out there, you won't know who needs it. But if you never put it out there, that's the sin. In fact, Proverbs 11, I think 23 talks about that there is a curse on people who have corn, but they don't sell it, and people need it. And they say, oh, ah, I can't sell it. Oh, if I sell it, what do people do? People might not want to buy it. Yeah, it's verse 26. Proverbs 11, um, 26. People curse someone who hoards grain, waiting for a higher price, but they praise the one who puts it up for sale. Period. If you put it up for sale, you are fine. If you don't, they will curse you. They say, what's the matter with you? Like now, when they are talking economic depression, this is when to sell. I never understood it. I mean, you should sell January 1 to December 31, but I never understood that when people are saying there is no money, did the money leave the earth? It didn't. The same money is still here. Money did not go anywhere. It's here now as we are speaking. It's just in certain pockets. There is a government made up of human beings who do whatever they do in the stock market. And do you know how all these things start? How did things become expensive? Russia and Ukraine started a war. And there are some things we get from Russia. We of different countries gets different things from Russia in terms of food resources and all that. And then because they are fighting and things are a bit more difficult to get, so they raise the price. And then somebody says, "Oh, because we are fighting, we're going to raise the price." That is all that happens. Somebody they find out that they're the CEO of Coca-Cola, let's say, and then there is some kind of oh, what's that word? Where something bad happens and or something horrible or shameful, and they say, "Oh, the CEO was caught in bed with a dog and a cat," and some people heard, people are hearing all over the world, the shares just fall, boom, because people now pull out. "Oh, we are not paying." Is the money is still there? It is the noise we are all making. "Oh, did you hear that? What happened to Kemi? Oh, did you hear? Oh, how to think? Oh my God. Oh, we're not ever going there again. We're never going there." Shh. But if you are listening to the Holy Ghost, you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. You won't be flowing with all that. You will know where the money is. And even if you don't know, it will show up when it's time for you to have it. Everything will show up the way it's supposed to show up. So this is how to think right. So you are never afraid. You're not shaking. You're not saying, "Oh, I won't be able to sell." That's not how to think. That's not how to think. How to think is to be at peace. He says, "I will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on me." Period. You stay it on somebody and something bigger and mightier. It doesn't make sense to me when you know somebody is bigger than you, stronger than you. and you are still not leaning on that, say, well, he knows the future. He helps you to live ahead. He helps you to live in the future so that you will know what to do when you get there. That's what God, human beings don't do that for you. So I don't understand why you won't want to have a knowledge of him. It just doesn't make sense to me. And the other one is I say men simply do not know how to think. That's what I say. Not only do men not think, they don't know, and then when they do think, they don't know how to think. I believe from childhood, if there's any skill that you should teach your child, it is how to think. I believe Romans chapter 12, verse 1 tells us that, beloved, be not conformed. No, beloved, I beseech you, give your bodies as a living sacrifice to God, which is your reasonable service. A translation says it's the logical thing to do. And why didn't it say give your soul or give your spirit? Because it's your body that will be feeling, I'm sleepy, I'm hungry, I want to eat, I want to sleep with that guy, I want to get this, I want to have this man's child, I just want to dress with all my body showing. It is your flesh to be carnally minded. Yes, it's not knowing how to think more than just not thinking. Yes, because everybody starts to think. But I see what Dr. Albert Schweitzer meant when he said they just do not think, because you look left, you look right, you say, why is that person behaving like this? They're not thinking. But then that's because they don't know how to think. So I was speaking, my son and his wife call sometimes, well, very often actually, every week, to show me the baby. And she just turned, is it she just turned 5 months this. So she was holding the phone for the first time, the handset. So they said, oh, she's holding. Anyway, they took it from her within like a few seconds. And so when they were about to say bye-bye, they put her close to the phone, like, no, no, sorry. When they took the phone from her, she started whining. And she really cried. I said, oh, look at your face. I really see you cry. And they said, oh, because they've taken the phone from her. I said, what? Why? She's thinking, I want the phone. She's just 5 months old. I want to hold it. Why did you take it from me? She cannot articulate it in English or a language any of us can understand, but she wants it and she's showing it by crying. So she had a thought that I want the phone back. I want to hold it myself. What's the matter with you people? So we all think she just does not know how to think. So men simply do not know how to think. So the next one I want to share, you mentioned it again. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And how do we know? I listened to a video the other day, it was yesterday or day before, my daughter put it on her IG reel. I said, please send me the full video. And the guy was talking about when you want to marry, you choose a spouse based on whether that person and you can work towards your purpose. I said, wow. I said, that is true. So it's no longer, are you attractive? Do you look good? Are you this? Are you that? It's all about what my purpose is as a woman, what your purpose is as a man. It's not about, and I think that's probably what parents see when they say, oh, you and my son, you should marry that girl. She's innovative, she's this, she's that. This thing that you do, she sees it, she's doing great. And I'm just realizing that men, they need their wives or the women in their lives, their moms, to say, well done. You're doing a great job. Not, look at what you did again. That thing is bad. You shouldn't have gone there. Nobody likes that. Not even, especially men. They don't know how to handle that. You are not doing well. They don't, we women will bounce back. He talked to me like this. He didn't say, hey, you should go away. I'm going to show him that. But men, they will shut down. They just won't talk to you. I remember a friend of mine was so shocked when he sent it. And I think it was a video. Was it a video? Was it something I sent? He's a single man, he's older. And he said, what was it? What did I send? I don't remember, but yeah, it was a video, a short clip by Femi Lazarus, and he said it was something about pulling when God is going to shoot you or when something is going to happen. It looks as if you are being drawn backwards, but you want to quickly go forward because you can see this thing that you're meant to do. But it's like you want to shoot an arrow, you pull it back first before you shoot it forward. He says, so sometimes it's like you're being pulled back, you're being stopped. He said, you're not being stopped, you're being prepared. You're in school. You are so every time you go forward, you are pulled again, you go for it. He said, no, there's nothing wrong. You're just fine. You're just in school. And I was so shocked when this friend of mine said, oh, he was looking to changing his career. And when he went to check, this is what he was going to. And when he went to check, he had to be a certain age where he was way older than that at the time of application. So and he put like an emoticon of like he was upset. And by the grace of God, I could say to him, I just replied him, I said, please don't be upset. You are where you are at the right time because God has got you. Don't worry about it. You are all good. There are people praying for you because he has served in a church and I watched this man serve. I said, hey, he was such a great example to everyone. And then I said, I remember these people in this church, all the time you were there, many people are still praying for you. Then I had another thought. I sent it. And I said, don't forget, General Sanders, who started KFC, started in his 60s. That he responded to that with a dance. I could see that inspired him. Like the emoticon he said was somebody dancing. So I was glad. Nobody wants to hear you, old man. Where have you been? Look at you sitting down there since morning. He is progressively realizing his worthy ideal. And you can't miss it when you stay with God. The verse I had for that was Joshua chapter 1, verse 1 to 9. Verse 8 says, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate in it therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Not that maybe you will be prosperous. No, it says you will make your way prosperous if you do it. It's not if you do things like oh we are fasting now. Let's fast. That's not what it is. You go and read Isaiah 58, the fast God has said he wants. It's not the fast of not just eating. It's the fast where you help the woman that's a widow, help the orphans, build this, share your food, da da da. That's the kind of fast God is talking about. The kind of, sorry, yeah, the fast is talking about. The kind of thou shalt do according to what is written there is like Proverbs chapter 1. It's simple. Sorry, Psalm 1, verse 1. Blessed is the man that does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, does not stand in the way of sinners, does not sit in the seat of the scornful. The ungodly are not just people who are in brothels. The ungodly are people who don't know God. They don't have a knowledge of him. You don't walk in their counsel because their counsel is their advice. So they don't know God and they're saying, don't worry, Kemi, just go there. Wear half clothes, let your belly show, let your bum be jiggling, wear high heels, enter that nightclub. Men will pick you up, they will sleep with you, and they will give you money. You don't walk in that counsel. So it's not just, oh, the person is not born again. No, it's ungodly counsel. They do not know God. That's walk in it, hear it, listen to it, do it. Because if you don't meditate in the knowledge you have of God, you will do according to the ungodly. You will walk in their counsel. So it's not enough to just know. You need to meditate in it. So let's look at the meaning of that word meditate because it has to do with what we are doing. Thinking is deep thinking is the word meditate. So let's look at the meaning of that word. I was looking at different aspects of meditate yesterday in different verses. So this particular one, meditate, in Joshua 1:8, the Hebrew is the word Haggah. The pronunciation is Hagah. It's pronounced Haggah. And it means to murmur in pleasure or anger, by implication, to ponder, to imagine, to meditate, to mourn, to mutter, to roar, to roar, to be sore, speak, study, talk, utter. These are deep things. When you mourn, you're not saying, oh, something happened, oh, I'm really sad. Mourning is a deep thing. When you murmur, people don't murmur because it's something they just want to talk about. They murmur because it's something deep that affects them. So it means to murmur. It says compare it with 1901. It's different from a complaint when people are murmuring. That's not what this is. This murmur is to murmur it to yourself. By the stripes of Jesus, I was healed. By the stripes of Jesus, I was healed. By the stripes of Jesus, I was healed. I was. That's past tense. I was healed. I was healed. My healing has already taken place. I am okay now. Oh, so I can't have pain. My body has no pain. By the stripes of Jesus, I was healed. That means I am healed. I am healed. I am healed of any pain, anything that's out of sync in my body, in my soul. I was healed. Right now, I am healed. I see my body is normal. All the sensations are right. Yes. It means to imagine this book of the law. You will meditate in this book of the law day and night. You will think on it. So it means to imagine. So I'm looking at different parts of my body and I'm imagining it. I'm healed. I'm healed. That's what it means. That's how to think. You don't rush around making noise. And in doing that, it also says you will observe to do. But the meditation comes before the doing. You don't do before you meditate. Otherwise, your doing will be wrong. You observe to do according to all that's written in it. And there is a lot that's written in the Bible that's not written in terms of English. It's written on your heart. He said, I will write my law on their hearts. So that's all you're thinking is all about the law of God as the like rain is always flowing. So you will get somewhere where they're denying people money. It's you they give because you know something, you know how to think. You know you find favor. You know if they say no today, it's coming to you in another way. I said my daughter came a few weeks back and came into Nigeria. Hey, oh, mom, hello. And she came to see her grandmother, and she was in Ghana for something. So she said, Nigeria is next door. I can't just go back. So she came for about 10 days. And then she said, so, mom, what do you want? I want to buy some things for you. I said, no, I should be taking care of you. She said, no, mom, what do you want? And I'd been thinking for weeks. I said, as soon as I have the money, I'm just going to go out and buy all these long boo-boos, these long magazines, all the way to the ground. I love them. I want to have 10, then I want to have 20, I want to have 30. I want to have lots of them. And they're always being sold around, as in it's everywhere. So I said, and I love our material. So I said, oh, immediately, that was the first. I said, yeah, I need some boo-boos. She went and bought 4, brought them home. Then she said, let's go and buy some more. By the time she left, I have 5. I think it's 5 because she took one of the ones she bought. Or is it 6? I have what I'd been thinking of. I have what I've been thinking of. And I did not go to buy it. That's what I wanted to point out. It was bought for me. I didn't, so things will come to you in different ways. So when you're thinking, I need the money, I want a house, I need the money to buy the house. How much is the house? 52 million naira. No, you don't. You need the house. You don't need the money. Is it the house are you going to live in the money or in the house? So focus on what you want. All I know is that this is what I want. And so you focus on your desire. That's all. And you practice this. You practice it. For then because when you meditate, when you put it in your mouth, you meditate on it, you do it, that's when you will make your way prosperous. Then you will have good success. I love the Bible because it always has things in order. You get the word, you put it in your mouth, you meditate on it, and that includes speaking it. And the only way it gets into your mouth is when it gets into your heart. Because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. And then you meditate on it, not just during the day, not just during the night, all day long. That's what it's saying. And you will observe to do all that is written in it. Let me look at that word, observe. That word observe means to hedge about, as with thorns, that is guard, generally to protect, to hedge it. So you will guard this thing, you will hedge it about with thorns. When you know it, when you meditate on it, you're not just, oh, allow that. No, no, no. It is so precious. You hedge about, you observe to do according, that you do it with a, how do you say? It's precious. It- Something you guard is something that's precious to you. You don't just do it. Something you guard is something that's precious to you. You observe to do according to all that's written therein. You guard it. You say, I'm about to do this. In fact, something you have put in your mouth and you've meditated on, there is no way it won't be precious. You don't just share it anyhow. You don't open your mouth anyhow. You're a doer of it. You're expecting it to happen. When you meditate, it's something you've created. It's your heaven. You've created. It's perfect. This is how it looks. This is what it looks like. And so that's what it will look like when it's manifest. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous. Yeah. That word prosperous means you will push matters forward. That's what it means. To push forward in various senses. Push forward. You will break out. And success there means is the word to be causatively make or act. You're going to make it happen. You're going to be intelligent about it. That's what he uses. He uses the word circumspect and hence intelligent. You'll be an expert. You'll be skillful. You'll be prudent. You will prosper. You have understanding. You have wisdom. That's what it means. So there are great benefits to having the right, and that's the end of our PowerPoint, to having the right information to think on. You said it, we can never think on what we don't know. But once you know that, if, in fact, this is not just about reading the Bible and, if you have the right information about how to use a bed and what to use it for and how to dress it and where to place it in the house, if you have all that information, you will know how to think about it. And then when you buy one, you will know where it goes. You will know what to put on it. You will know how to dress it. You will know what to do with it. But if you do not have any data, information, or knowledge, and those words, you can use the word knowledge for data and information, then you will not know what to do with it. So many people are living on earth. They have no knowledge of the person that made it. It's always the manufacturer that will write the manual, and you read what the manufacturer wrote about how to use a bed, about how to use a violin, about how to use a mirror, about how to use a table, a fan, a house, a camera. You will read what the person that made it, you will read it. But people are not reading God. Oh. They are not reading the manual. The Bible is the manual. They're not reading. Oh. And they expect to live in this world well. But it's not possible. Like Hosea 4:1 tells us that their crimes are increasing, murders, you don't know me, you're just fighting each other, cursing. No, don't do that. Get to know me. He says, and it's easy to know me. Romans chapter 1. It's easy to know me. It's right there in front of you. He's looking at you, and you are looking at it, and you say, I don't know. Can you say you don't know? That's because you've chosen not to, like Romans chapter 1 says. So I hope you notice that, this is not just about being religious. I read because we made it a thing. Oh, I've read the Bible through. I remember I used to feel really guilty, like, oh, I'm not reading the Bible through. I've never read the Bible through in 1 year. How do I do that? And I hated it. I hated it with a passion that I have to read the Bible through in 1 year. I said everybody is doing it. I don't want to do it. Is it a star in my cap? We've lost the meaning. We just thought, I can read the Bible through in 1 year. Did you read, have you read the Gospels? You haven't read it in 1 week. I have read it. Can you read? I remember I read the New Testament 3 times. There's this thing, there's this thing in the Bible, sorry, on YouVersion where you can read the New Testament in 90 days. I was like, yeah. And it took me a while to start. And I remember the first time I read it in not 90 days, in 6 months. So 180 days. Because I thought, how does anybody keep up with 12 to 14 chapters a day? I don't have the time. So gradually I realized, Kemi, to make the time, you have to waking up early. You can't wake up at 7. You need to go somewhere at 8. Leave at 8. You still have to bath, you still have to dress. So I started to wake up. So I removed the time, 30 minutes. I started waking up at 4:30 a.m. I said, oh, this is what it takes. Wow. Then I realized you can't go to bed late because you need to wake up at 4:30 a.m. So I said, oh, I have to change that to then you have to, And the next time I read it in 90 days. Next time I read it, my life was changing. I was, yes, yes. Fourth time I had arrived here in Nigeria. I just heard God say, I don't want you to do that anymore. I thought it was the devil. I said, get away. I just opened it, I was starting. I said, I'm glad he did though, because I probably won't be here today. In terms of how I'm learning. And I said, so what should I do? He said, I want you to live a fasted life. I said, what does that mean? He said, you can drink anything aside from sodas. You can drink soups. You can drink lots of water. At 6 p.m., you eat a meal, and that's it. You're done for the day. And that has been difficult because there are times I don't want to wait till 6. I want to eat now. There are times my belly is rumbling. You can eat fruits, vegetables, and all that. So I've learned to change that gradually. Certain things I eat. I'd stopped eating so many other ugly things that I'm not supposed to eat. So, do you have any comments here? Because we are done.
Wow, thank you. That was a mouthful. Yeah. Yeah. But
oh my God. Oh
yeah,
my God.
I think I'll maybe for I don't have questions now. Maybe when I go through it again, because I was just taking notes and there are a few things that I have highlighted here. Number one is thinking should start from the runway of righteousness. I should be meditating on this one. Yes. And then the other one that I highlighted is people with a goal succeed because they know where they are going. So it is important for us to decide where we want to go and start working towards that goal. Yes. And then meditate on the knowledge of God. Then that's when you can observe to do according to all that is written. focus on your desire and practice on it. These are the things that I have highlighted in my notes here.
What was the one you said about meditate? I didn't hear that one clearly.
I said meditate on the knowledge of God.
Mm. 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 I am also taking notes. Yeah, that's powerful. Oh, that was nice. Okay, so I'm sure I sent the recording of the first one, didn't I? I hope I did.
You sent all the recording. Actually, we had 2 lessons. You forgot. We had 2.
We have? Oh, I was
Yes.
thinking, was it
So you
one or
sent all
two?
of them.
One or two.
No, we had 2. You sent all of them.
All right, fantastic.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're most welcome. So I'll just change this to class 3 because I thought it was class 2.
No, it was class 3.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, ma'am. So I would expect your write-up when you send it, and then we'll prepare for 2 Saturdays hence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Have a beautiful day. Let me end the recording before I tell you this. Stop the recording.